Today, Monday, November 18, is a very special day for Rob McCool. He is a man who is a fictional character who exists in a world of fictional characters. So, what's so special about this day? Today is Rob McCool's birthday. In a moment, we will show you how old he is using Roman numerals. Yes, Rob McCool is officially... Yes, this is a fictional presentation, and Roman numerals were the numerals being used when Rob was in elementary school. And yes, Rob is celebrating his birthday in so many ways, and one of the ways that he's celebrating is reveling in the fact that he is free at last from the conflicts at Freedom Maples Elementary School. On Monday, May 8, 2023, Rob is facing a meeting with the parents of the latest boy in his class to fling a marker. And yes, the meeting takes place in the Freedom Maples conference room. Meanwhile, 3 days earlier, you may recall that Rob's mom had been rushed to Freedom Hospital because she had fallen on her living room floor and was in agonizing pain. And by this point, Rob and his family were used to their mom being transported to the hospital, listening to her complain about not being comfortable, her back hurt, her hip hurt, her knees hurt. She didn't like the food choices. She wasn't hungry. In other words, it was a typical weekend at the hospital for Rob's mom. And on the following Monday, May 8, at Freedom Maples, at the conference room, it was time to face the parents of this boy who had flung the marker. Rob was hoping that the boy in question, his student, whom he felt like he had a great relationship with up until recently, would join the meeting. Alas, no, the boy chose not to join this meeting, but to stay in class instead. The meeting attendees were the boy's parents, Stormtrooper, principal at the time, and Judy Hickenlooper, assistant principal at the time. And while participating in this meeting, this question reverberated through Rob's mind. Who's more concerned, the parents or Stormtrooper? In Rob's mind, it seemed that it was Stormtrooper who was trying to stir up trouble. The parents didn't seem all that concerned. As an aside, the parents did say that their son had resented me for the last month or so because he perceived me as being unfair. By the way, Rob received birthday gifts from each of his administrators. From Stormtrooper, he received a framed photograph of the Freedom Maples conference room, and from Judy Hickenlooper, he received a letter opener, which also doubled as a backstabber. Meanwhile, back in class, Rob could tell that Marker Boy had learned his lesson. You had to meet with my parents. They were mad at you. I didn't really get in trouble because what you did was wrong. What I did was right. So you got in trouble and I got away with throwing the marker through the class. And Rob was thinking, what a different outcome this would have been if the child had just been allowed to suffer the consequences for his actions. And on his way home from school that day, Rob is deep in reverie over all of the misadventures that he has suffered through the course of that day when his phone rings, and it is from Freedom Hospital asking Rob to come to the hospital right away. And Rob is thinking, well, this doesn't sound like good news. And meanwhile, at Rob McCool's home away from home, Freedom Hospital, and at Freedom Hospital, Rob always takes the stairs, sometimes 2 and 3 at a time, to go from the first floor to the 6th or the 7th floor. And Rob makes his way down the hall to his mom's latest room and heads around the corner where he sees his mom in a wheelchair being watched over by a security guard. 2 nurses wheel Rob's mom back into her room, and one of the nurses explains to Rob why a security guard was called. Mr. McCool, your mom has been physically and verbally abusive to staff, refusing to follow directions, throwing things, those kinds of things. Yes, we had to call a security guard for our own protection. So as the afternoon progresses and Rob's mom displays some very bizarre behavior, Rob is thinking she's truly lost her mind. And earlier that same day at Freedom Maples Asylum, Rob McCool felt like he was about to lose his mind. He had planned to take his students down to some nearby woods for a nature walk to look for Missouri flora, but based on recent events, he decided to abbreviate that project. For years, Rob has taken his students on nature walks to look for plants native to Missouri, but this was the first year he chose to do this project in a more restrained way. And while Rob is a man of his word, and he did talk to his class about an upcoming nature walk, he never once said that his class would be actually walking down to the woods. And Marker Boy complained about not getting to go to the woods, little dreaming that really he was the main reason Rob changed plans in the first place. Leaping back to February of the same year, 2023, when Rob's mom first returned from the hospital, she of course struggled with her ability to speak as well as read, write, and do math, and Rob vowed to help her with these skills. And these word lessons continued in the hospital on that same day that Rob's mom had been escorted back to her room by the security guard. Yes, Rob's mom always loved doing word lessons with Rob. And likewise, in her hospital room that day, that white rectangle flying by, that was my mom's dry erase board that she used to practice writing words. She would fling it toward the wall. So, what had caused Rob McCool's mom to behave in such a bizarre way? So bizarre that the hospital had to assign a security guard to her? Well, the answer came by talking to the nurse. So, what information will this nurse reveal about Rob McCool's mom's behavior? To find out the details, be sure to tune in the next compelling edition of Rob McCool's Guide to Freedom. And Rob McCool's birthday celebration continues via a magical trek backward through time. Be sure to join him on his next excursion.